boom, there we go. So other question, that's it. All right. Okay, so let's just get cracking, eh? It's a couple of minutes past 12 and I want to make sure I give you as much value as I can during this lunch hour session with Wandsworth Borough Council Business Hub. And I'll just let other people come in as they go along. All right, so today we're going to be talking about how to make sure you're setting up properly on Facebook. So obviously, when you're getting started with social media, in particular Facebook and Instagram, it's all too tempting to just run your marketing campaigns as if you were running like your chat that you normally do with your friends and family. However, marketing is completely different and requires a whole different kind of level of skills and expertise and strategies and plans. And I'm a big one for making sure that everybody has a plan in place, because if you don't have a plan, it's just a dream and you can't even measure dreams, how effective they are. So therefore, in order to build yourself a really, really successful business, and I'm talking about, you got to think about making 6 figures in your business, right? If you're not making 6 figures in your business, you're not going to be able to make the changes that you need in order to have that success that you need in order to pay all those bills and make a dent in the overheads that need to be paid all the time. So I'm all about making sure that we develop a plan for the 6-figure business minimum or multiple 6-figure businesses for the people that I work with, in order to make sure that we are measuring our strategy, we're measuring the output, we're measuring the impact, we're measuring the sales and the brand awareness, the click-throughs and all those kinds of things as well. Because otherwise, the vast majority of people setting up in business will just set up with a basic kind of website and then go, right, I need to do some updates on social media, right? So then they might do some videos or some Twitter, some Facebook updates and stuff like that. And then 3 months later going, what the hell, why am I not making any sales type thing? So that's why it's really important to set up that plan, which is all about making sure that you're making 6 figures. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about who I am and why I'm here in front of you. So basically, my name is Finn Wycherley. I am representing Facebook and Instagram. I work for them as a trainer. I'm a Facebook lead trainer, as they call me. And I work on their behalf in order to deliver all kinds of training to do with their suite of business tools. So that's everything from Facebook to WhatsApp and Instagram. I've also been running my business called Supersize Media for the last 10 years. So during that time, I've become an expert in everything from Twitter to LinkedIn to email marketing. And we help all kinds of organizations around the world, from Australia, Canada, Venezuela, Mexico, Belgium, UK, in order to make sure that they are moving ahead at pace with their business. Because if you don't have somebody on your side, a coach or a marketing team on your side, you're just kind of scrabbling in the dark pretty much, especially when it comes to the overwhelming level of information and tools and strategies that you could be adopting when it comes to developing your business in 2021. So one of my other claims to fame is I'm a Facebook marketing partner, which means that my team will actually run social media campaigns and ads on behalf of clients to make sure that they are getting the results that they need. So say, for example, the business doesn't want to train people up in order to do all that technical stuff, then we will just do it all for them. An example of that is a high-end jewelry high-end luxury handbag company, who during the lockdown, they had a drastic reduction in sales because they couldn't sell through their usual shop outlets in Covent Garden, Hong Kong, and Edinburgh, and places like that. So then they had to really properly invest in Facebook ads strategy, Instagram ads strategy. And now fast forward about 18 months, they're spending about £30,000 a month just on the ads part because of the fact that they're getting significant returns, because they're not dumbos. They wouldn't do it unless they were getting good returns. And we did start at the beginning, obviously, with a nice, easy budget that could start to deliver some results. And as soon as we were starting to deliver results, we were able to then amp up the ads budget more and more in order to be able to deliver more and more results for them. The other big claim to fame is that I am followed on Twitter by Mr. Barack Obama, President Barack Obama. Oh, yes, that's right. You may bow. I don't mind. Thank you. So he's been following me for a number of years, and I never talked about it. I mean, I talked about it with friends and family, but I never talked about it online because I was really scared in case the karma fairies would come back and bite me, because I was like profiting from, oh, check who follows me. So, but this year, you know, obviously a lot of people have done a lot of soul searching, and I decided, no, I'm going to talk about the fact that Barack Obama follows me, and I'm going to be proud about it, and I'm going to make money out of the fact that he follows me and has followed me for years, including the Bank of England on my newsletter list and a whole bunch of other celebrities, political parties. You know, you'd be surprised which political parties are following me, because I'm like, I'm not about your politics, mate, but you know, I'm always on the ball in terms of understanding which political parties are doing really well, because of the fact that I critiqued Barack Obama's campaign when he came in and slammed and dunked the presidency. And obviously since then, many political parties around the world follow me for insights on, you know, how I'm critiquing the different parties' approach to communicating, using all the tools of communication and persuasion that you can find online. So I also do a lot of activities with Shimin Business. That's basically Facebook's initiative to try and get more women, give lots more support for women in business. And I'm based in Edinburgh. I'm a single mom, 5 children, 3 grandchildren. And the last one finally went off to university on Monday. So I am now officially an empty nester. All right, so let's just crack on then. You know all about me, and hopefully during today's session, I'll find out a little bit more about you and about your business as well. So I'm going to rattle through all of the elements of getting started with the Facebook Business Suite. And then I want you to write down all your questions as we're going through it, because I'll answer all of your questions once we actually come to the end of it. And we've got plenty time at the end of it to actually go through any questions that might pop up as we're going through the presentation. And of course, excuse me while I kind of expand and reduce the presentation, because as more and more people are coming into the presentation, I have to kind of just reduce it and let them in, and then blah, blah, blah. It's just a hassle. Anyway, all right, so let's get cracking. So today we're talking about getting started with the Facebook Business Suite. Now, the Facebook Business Suite is going to make you a little bit upset, because most people who get started with it are like, what the hell is this madness? But literally, it's a really fantastic place where you can go and learn how to schedule all your posts on Facebook, as well as all your posts on Instagram. So it's a real kind of time saver, and is going to be have a massive impact from your business once you get in there. So that's me being all soncy there in Edinburgh. What we'll cover is we're going to find out how to save time with the Facebook Business Suite. We're going to create and manage posts, and we're going to review comments and messages. And from that, you'll be able to understand your results across Facebook and Instagram. So if you've been busy kind of using all the other tools to schedule content out there and check your analytics, well, now you don't necessarily have to do that anymore, because it's all available within the Facebook Business Suite. And so there's 2 elements that you need to look at: the Facebook Business Suite or the Facebook Creator Studio. So what happened is, the Facebook Creator Studio, you just have to Google Facebook Creator Studio and they'll talk you through how to get it set up. Same with Facebook Business Suite. It's basically trying to make sure that businesses who are operating their business on Facebook has a more professional dashboard in order to see all their analytics in one place, schedule all their posts, see the library of all their posts much more easily as well. So the Facebook Creator Studio happened first, so that has a lot of functionality. Facebook Business Suite has been introduced lately, and they're pushing everybody onto the Business Suite. However, Creator Studio still exists, and some people don't get access to the Business Suite. So if you can't find one, go and look for the other. They pretty much have the same functionality, and eventually they will be merged all into one place. One of the great things and the terrifying things about Facebook is because it's such an innovative company, they're making changes literally every day to all of their different kind of tools and apps and everything. And so I might be busy teaching something I've been teaching for years and then go to actually demonstrate, and then boom, it's not there anymore. It's been withdrawn because it didn't have very much take up, or because they've decided to integrate it into another part of the business. So it's a bit of a nightmare to keep up with it, but it always keeps everybody on their toes, because all of the changes that they bring in are about how to make sure that we're actually delivering a better service for the businesses, because let's face it, that's where they get all their money. So their number one priority is to make sure that the businesses are happy, because if they didn't have the businesses, they wouldn't have a business model. So this Facebook Business Suite is a great place to connect with all of your customers in one place. So once you get it set up, you can see here instantly at a glance, you know, all the people that have messaged you either on Instagram or Facebook, all in one place. You can also see all the posts that you've put up there, all in one place on one dashboard. You can see how many people reached it, how many people liked it, whether you want to boost that post. And then, of course, you can have a look at the trends that are happening with your accounts and with the audience as well. So it's a phenomenal tool for saving time when it comes to your Facebook and Instagram activities. So we're going to be learning about how to schedule posts to Facebook and Instagram ahead of time, and use your inbox to connect with more customers quickly and meaningfully as well. Because the fabulous thing is, you know, when you're running, you know, you've got your Instagram and your Facebook set up, people are coming in with different messages, and you're like, where the hell did I get that question? You know, I saw it coming in earlier on, I couldn't answer to it, and I'm trying to answer it, but where the hell is it? Is it on WhatsApp? Is it on Facebook? No. So now it's all going to be on the same place, and you can answer all the messages at once, or you can even allocate somebody else to the messages and label the messages as well, so that you can have a kind of labeling, filing system with the types of questions that are coming into your business as well. Then you can also use insights to see results across Facebook and Instagram as well. Okay, so let's get started. You can actually download this app so that you can operate the whole thing on your mobile phone as well. So all you have to do is go into the App Store or the Google Play Store, and then download the Facebook Business Suite onto your mobile phone, and then go through the kind of step-by-step process, which is really, really simple, to make sure that all of your profiles are connected in one place. Or you can operate it from your desktop as well. Ooh, we've got a question here. Let me see, chat. Ooh, let me go. Well, I can't answer it while I'm in kind of full screen. I'll come back to that after. Hope you don't mind. We've also got a worksheet that goes with this training session as well. So it covers all of the elements that we're going to be talking about. And if there's any other questions that you have subsequent to this training session, obviously you can always hit me up on Facebook and Instagram at FinWitcherly anytime. Right, so in order to keep up with both communities on Facebook and Instagram, we need to be able to share posts on Facebook and Instagram. You can preview your posts before sharing them to Instagram and or Facebook, and you can schedule posts ahead of time. So it's an amazing time saver. But the other problem is that although you can schedule Facebook stories, you can't really schedule the Instagram stories yet. And even doing the Facebook stories, you just don't have all the functionality that you do on your mobile phone. So in terms of developing your content for the stories newsfeed, then I would still stick to your normal mobile phone experience. And that's also to make sure that the stories experience is nice and fresh, you know, because one of the reasons why Instagram was launched as a mobile only application is because they wanted to make sure that nobody was like spamming it. You know how some businesses can be really spammy. You know, if you look at some of the Facebook groups, you know, they're full of these businesses. They're going, buy me, buy me, buy me. And there's no kind of content or context going on in terms of any of their posts. So the reality is with the Instagram, because they didn't allow you to schedule anything, because they didn't allow you to use anything but their mobile phone, they were trying to limit the damage that businesses can create in the newsfeed. However, so hopefully they understand that, you know, good fresh content in the stories is only going to be possible within the mobile experience rather than on the desktop as well. And then you can plan your content well ahead of time. So it's a good policy to have a clear goal. One of the best goals that we have when it comes to Instagram and Facebook is to make sure that you have a 3% engagement rate on every single post. So therefore, you know, I mean, if anybody's looked at your Instagram and Facebook analytics, if you put up a piece of content that hardly gets any reaction to it, that means nobody has liked, shared, commented, clicked through, and all that type of thing, then literally you can see that your reach and the visibility of that post is really, really small. So say, for example, you've got maybe 1,000 fans on Facebook or Instagram, and you put up a post and hardly anybody has reacted to it, you'll see in the analytics that the reach has been very, very small. Some would say if there's no reaction whatsoever on that post, it'll only be seen by maybe 3% of the people who are fans of yours on your social media platform. However, if you are putting up great content, then and you get a great engagement rate, something beyond 3%, maybe 10%, 17%, then you can see from the analytics that that post will have enormous reach. It might even be reaching 200% of your audience. So that means 100% of your current audience plus all the other people who have a similar kind of demographic profile will also see that content. So therefore, having clear goals in 2021 is much more about getting the engagement right. Because if your clear goal is all about, I need to get more followers, then oops, you've got a problem. Because if you're just after the followers, you could have quite easily 5,000, 10,000, 50,000 followers, but how are you going to get 3% engagement rate on those big numbers? You know what I mean? So you have to think carefully about making sure that you're getting a good engagement rate. And why? It's because you're demonstrating to your community that your content is valuable. You're also nurturing that relationship that you have with them. People are becoming more and more familiar with your brand, what you do, what you're selling and things like that. And then most importantly, well, not most importantly, but just as importantly, it's giving a clear message to the algorithms that this is great content. Because objectively speaking, if the algorithms, that's the little pieces of code running around to decide who sees what online, if they see that you've put up a post and consistently put up posts that don't have anybody reacting to it, then they just have to assume that your content is garbage and they will limit the damage that happens in the newsfeed. Therefore, even if you're posting 10 times a day and you're hardly getting engagement, you can work as hard as you want. But without that engagement, without those likes, comments, shares, click through, stopping in the scroll, clicking on the see more part, then nobody pretty much is seeing your content. So you have to rethink your strategy, your mindset, the way you position those posts now, to actually make sure that they're geared to get some kind of reaction. And in order to do that, you have to think carefully about your audience, your buyer persona, develop that one person that you want to influence, and have a picture of that person next to your screen, next to your desk. And you write and create everything around that one person's hopes, dreams, desires, and pain points. Because if you don't focus on that one person's pain points, you're never going to get them deciding to purchase anything from you at any time in the future. So it's very important to move away from that kind of generic, bland speak where you're talking to everybody and you're putting up generic posts that could be suitable and appeasable to everybody. No, if you're talking to everybody online, you're talking to nobody. Okay, so think very carefully about your audience and set aside time to create and schedule your content. One of the great things about using scheduling tools is that you can set aside like one half morning or one day, for example, to create all the content that you need for the next couple of months or the next month or the next week or whatever. And then you schedule them all out to go up at the optimum times. Because remember, if you don't know what the optimum times for posting, again, your post could land at a time when most people are not online, and therefore your chances of getting engagement is really, really small as well. And what happens is that many people are posting at the same time on Instagram and Facebook, whereas Facebook tends to be a morning type of place, and then Instagram tends to be an evening type of place, 6 till 9 o'clock. So therefore, when you're doing your scheduling, you have to check your analytics on Facebook and Instagram, write down what is the best time of day to be posting on each specific day as well, because it changes. Saturdays and Sundays can be different from Thursdays and Mondays. And then again, put that on your desk, on your wall, next to that portrait of the client that you're in love with. And then you can actually schedule it up to land in front of that target client at the optimum time. And you can do all of that using the scheduling tools within Facebook Business Suite or Facebook Creator Studio. So the other advantage is you can preview your posts before sharing them to Instagram and Facebook. And also, if you've got other people who are adminning on your business pages, then you can save all of your posts into draft in the business suite and then get the approvals that you need. Maybe you're working as the social media manager and you need to get the business owner or the marketing director to actually approve all the posts and check all your spelling and make sure you're getting the tone of voice right and the branding elements are all in place. And then once you've got the approvals, then you can schedule them out to go out there. All right, so let's try scheduling a post. So even just doing it on the mobile phone is super simple. All you have to do is click on publish and then you write something. You add your little image or video, preferably. Word to the wise. If you just put one image up there on social media, it has less chance of success than using all the other formats of posts. So for example, if you're doing a live, it's going to be super effective. If you're doing a reel, it's going to be phenomenally effective. If it's a video or a piece of animation, anything that's got some kind of moving element to it, literally you have to imagine that people are looking on their mobile phone, holding onto their mobile phone, and scrolling through. And as soon as they see some kind of moving activity happening, they're more likely to kind of stop and pause and scroll through what's happening there. Whereas literally, if they're scrolling through and they can see one image and see a couple of the words that go with it, they're like, okay, I've consumed that. I don't need to stop. I'll just kind of carry on scrolling. But unfortunately, what that means is that the algorithms have to say, all right, this person is a fan of this business and they have just scrolled past that content. So therefore, here's another sign that that content is garbaggio. So they will automatically start discounting that content. So always try and think about having a social media strategy, which has got some kind of moving images going on. Very simple animations can work, just you even put an image in it and just have some fireworks going off or some stars falling down or something, some rainbows moving around. It doesn't take rocket science to add a bit of animation to your post, so long as it's relevant to the brand, obviously. And if you can't do anything in the kind of animation space, you're not very familiar with using tools like Canva or like Adobe Spark, for example, then we recommend that you use carousel posts. Carousel posts are where you have up to 10 images for that one post. So literally you have 10 images and then the one caption that goes with that particular post. So when somebody's scrolling through, they can see that there's more than one image there. So they're likely to kind of flick through all the other images that are in that story, that carousel post. And again, that's giving strong indications that this is quality content. So there's another good way to actually improve your social media by changing your strategy around what kind of images or videos you're going to be using. So back to scheduling. So now you've got your caption there, you've got your image or video. And by the way, your caption has got to be nice and scintillating, right? We don't do reportage here on social media. We want passion. We want emotion, any kind of emotion. Even if you're a shock jock kind of brand, even if you're a kind of a cynical, sarcastic type of brand, we want as much emotion as possible. Because when people go onto social media, they don't go there because they have a specific objective in mind. They're not going there because they want to find out about where to find a good plumber necessarily. They're not going there because they want some ideas on how to decorate their room so it's more kind of green friendly. They're not going there with that specific search objective. They're going on social media because they want a hit. They want a hit of inspiration. They want to be transformed by some ideas or some experiences or some opinions that feed people's soul. So therefore, if you try and bring that kind of traditional marketing reportage type of thing, which is a bit bland, like take a look at our top rated indoor plants of August, it could work, but it would be much more appealing and engaging, because that's what we're looking for, remember, to say, take a look at our top rated, I would change top rated, it's a bit banal. Take a look at our award-winning indoor plants. They're absolutely incredible. They're walking off the shelves. You better hurry up and come in and get some quickly before they all run out. It's already the beginning of August. We can't believe the stocks are half empty. So blah, blah, blah. Putting in things like scarcity. That's a really big incentive to get people to take some kind of action as well. So always put in scarcity and always put in a call to action. Get them to do something, because if you don't get them to do something, you're not doing marketing, right? We're not doing journalism here. We're not doing publishing here. We're doing marketing. And what that means is we're getting people to do something. So if you take that reportage type of style of commenting into your captions, then literally people will read it and scroll on by, because that's how they consume information from the news and the magazines and everything as well. So you have to bring a different kind of mindset to how you put that content together and get them to do something. Because even if people read that and go, this is amazing, I really fancy, buying it, clicking through to the website or something. But unless you tell them, click through to their website and get the deal before it's finished, they won't even think to do that. So you have to lead them by the nose almost, give them that structure to help them make the decisions without them having to think about it. Because if you're making people think or too much, or if you're making them hesitate ever so slightly, then they're off. You have not even 1 second to make an impact or to lose them because your content is too confusing, or the message is not very clear, or you're just being kind of bland, generic, and boring. So really think hard and carefully about how you're putting your captions together, and then how to make sure your images and videos are even more scintillating in order to get that engagement, the holy grail. All right, back to scheduling then. So then you can decide on your publishing options, whether you want it to go only to Instagram or only to Facebook, or if you want it to go to both. Then you can edit your caption and customize it for each one. You can tag people in it, add emojis and all kinds of fun things, and even boost your post if you want to. And by the way, before you ask, yes, it is possible to click on boost post if you're just getting started with advertising. Boost post effectively means that you are going to be putting some cash into making sure that the specific demographic that you're after gets to see that post. Because remember, if you're only posting into the news feed, what are the chances that people are actually going to see it? Pretty much zero these days. So therefore, having a fantastic content strategy as well as a fantastic distribution strategy means you're now doing marketing. So it doesn't always mean you have to do ads, though. There's all kinds of ways of doing outreach and messaging and being very skillful with hashtags and things, and working with the groups. So there's a lot of scope for organic content development, bringing in the sales through organic activities online, which means basically you're not putting any money into it. However, you're going to have to replace all that money you would have put into the ads with a whole lot of labor. There's a lot more kind of legwork required if you're not going to be using the ads. And then if you're going to be using the ads, the boost post is a good place to start. But eventually, when you get a bit more skillful with your ads and you can see a little bit about the impact, or even if you're not getting any impact at all, then I would recommend you go up into the ads manager. Again, just Google Facebook ads manager and get yourself set up in that process. And then you'll have a whole lot more kind of functionality to play with when it comes to putting your ads together. And that's where all the professionals hang out. It's the kind of amateurs, or rather the ones who are just getting started with Facebook advertising, that will use the kind of boost post activity. So there's nothing against it. It's very simple. It's built to be very simple, so that it doesn't really tax your mind, but you will get more bang for your buck by using the ads manager, which is within the Facebook business suite as well. Then you can decide whether you want to publish now or whether you want to schedule for later. And that's pretty much how it all goes. All right, so now let's look at how you manage your communications with the Facebook Business Suite. And that's all about managing all the messages that are coming in and all the requests where people will be asking information about you. So you also get to connect much more with your customers and track important updates, respond to your customers' messages and comments promptly using the inbox, and then build customer relationships seamlessly. So remember, when it comes to social media, when it comes to any marketing, in fact, traditionally they would say you need at least 7 to 17 touch points before somebody is prepared to even think about picking up the phone or sending an email or booking a session or making some kind of purchase. So you really have to think carefully about having a long-term strategic kind of process whereby you're bringing people down the sales funnel, identifying them through using the ads, bringing them into your everyday content on the different social media platforms, and then using your email marketing for actually to get the conversions often. So that's why it's very important to have all these different kind of systems in place so that you're developing and nurturing those relationships seamlessly throughout the whole sales funnel that you've got. And then the good thing is you can also set up automated messages so that if you're not available to be responding to people timidly, then there's an automatic message that will just jump out to them. So you can try them out. Some people love them, some people hate them. So you have to work out what works best for you and your business as well. And the good thing is that you can set it up so that it operates automatically every time you finish business. So if you normally have your kind of business hours set at 9 till 5, for example, then anybody that messages the business can have an automated response as well, not just a welcome message. You can have that away message saying thank you very much for your comment. We'll be back as soon as we're back in business hours, UK business hours, obviously, because a lot of people are dealing with international clients these days. And then we can also set up saved replies as well to make sure that people are getting the necessary answers that they need. And all you have to do for that is decide what are the kind of key trigger words in order to put up the replies. So if one of the trigger words is something like opening times, then you'll have an artificial intelligence bot running around and actually generating your saved reply that corresponds to the trigger keywords of opening times. Okay, and then there might be another saved reply which is to do with deliveries. So somebody might say something like, do you do deliveries? And then automatically the artificial intelligence has been set up by you in the first place, but identified by the artificial intelligence to actually deliver the right response. Sorry, I'm a bit kind of choky and everything. I've recovered from 3 weeks of coughing and spluttering, and now I've actually got a temperature today. So sorry for being a bit under the weather. Normally I'm a whole lot more ebullient and effusive, and some would say downright boisterous, but today I'm a bit under par, so do feel sorry for me because I do. All right, so here's how you basically set up an automatic reply. You just go into the kind of reply section within the business suite and then just create it. There you go, pretty simple. And then here's where you have all your saved replies in there. And then you can type in your kind of reply title, enter your message, and then off you go. There it is. Okay, so now let's talk about how to grow your business by understanding what's working across your Facebook and Instagram communities. And the main part about that is understanding all of the insights, all of the analytics, because if you don't understand the analytics, you have no idea whether you're doing things well or you're doing things really badly. So whenever you look at your analytics on Facebook or Instagram, you always want to make sure that you're getting those green numbers. Even if you don't want to look at what the actual numbers say, just make sure that the little indications on the right-hand side of those numbers are all green, as you can see on the right-hand side there under insights. Whereas the one on the left there has got red writing, so it's going down 1%. So you don't want any of the red, we want all green. And going into the analytics means you can understand how to do more of the stuff that's working and less of the stuff that's not. So you get to be more and more efficient every single time. And then you can check out how each platform is operating side by side. Here's your Instagram followers, here's your Facebook followers. Here you can see the kind of percentage breakdown of women and men. You can see what the age demographics are of your followers as well. And you can see things like trends and what kind of content has worked particularly well. And again, here you can see that these particular posts that were put up, they have performed very well because of the fact that they had significant engagement on those posts. So you can see 8 comments in the top one and 47 reactions. And as a result, there was 1,209 people reached, new eyeballs or even existing fan eyeballs. The second one had 8 shares and 4 comments and 30 reactions. And that was reached, that meant that there was 989 people reached. So you can have a look at all of those posts and decide, okay, what is it about this post that worked so well compared to all the other ones? Was it the time of day? Was it the targeting? Was it because I was using video? Was it because I was a lot more emotive in how I was communicating? So go in there and analyze and begin to, you don't have to do it like grit by grit. You can just take an overview and take a gut reaction as to, okay, if I do more of these ones, then basically I'm going to get better results ultimately. And then you can check out all of the detailed analytics in terms of reach, reactions, comments and shares, and clicks and click-throughs and all this kind of good stuff. So it's very, very, as detailed as you could possibly need, and probably a lot more detailed than most people need. You can see how your post performed, learn what each community wants to see, create or boost content that resonates with your audience. And this is a really, really good strategy, actually. If you see a post that has performed outstandingly well, then it's always a good strategy to actually put a bit of budget on it to then make sure it's seen by a whole lot more people, because objectively speaking, it's already performing well as an organic post. So therefore, it will perform even better as an ads-based post. And again, although we're not talking about ads particularly today, I would recommend that, when it comes to doing your ads, when you put your ads together, you can see that they will tell you, okay, this is a bad ad, i.e. nobody's clicking through on it, nobody's interested in it. We're going to limit the damage, even if you're spending like £20 a day or £50 a day, so they'll say, okay, this post could potentially be seen by anything between 14,000 people and 34,000 people. So therefore, if you put a great ad together, which is guaranteed to have loads and loads of engagement to it, then it will be seen by 34,000 people, as opposed to 14,000 people, because Facebook and Instagram are trying to limit the damage of bad posts and bad ads on people's news feed. So therefore, it's really good strategy to try and just work hard, try different things, try different combinations of ads, images, call to action, emotion, emojis, all that type of stuff, hashtags, to find the sweet spot that is really working well. Once you really understand what is resonating well with your community, then when you put the ads together, they're going to be very successful. So 99% of businesses that come to work with us as the professionals have already spent a fortune on social media, on the ads, and not got any results. And that's because their original content strategy was not good enough, not fit for purpose. They hadn't done the proper exercises in understanding their customer properly. They haven't understood what their competitors are doing effectively or not. They haven't understood how to really get that engagement done. They're always just like wanting to post up any old stuff and then put some budget behind it, and then Bob's your uncle. But unfortunately, 2021, there's too much noise online for that strategy to ever work. It would have worked back in 2015 when there was not so many people online, but nowadays you actually got to know your stuff in order to stand out in the newsfeed. So in order to reach more people, you've got to boost your posts to get more people to see and engage with them. So it's quite simple. Once you're into the insights section, there's that little icon that says boost posts. Then you click it, and then it gives you an ad preview of what it's going to look like when this ad appears in somebody's news feed. And if you're happy with how that looks, you don't want to make any changes, then you can just click on boost post now. And what happens is automatically, as soon as you click the boost post, it doesn't actually launch there and then. There are a number of checks and balances that your post will go through before it gets approved. So first of all, it gets approved by robots to make sure that you're not trying to sell anything dodgy like drugs to kids or porn or something like that. Then once the robots are happy, they will approve it. They'll send you an approval. But then there's also a second layer, which is the human. The human will come in and have a look at it to make sure that, you're being culturally sensitive and you're not being outrageous and ridiculous and offensive and things like that, which the bots can't necessarily detect very well. So even if your ad gets approved first, it might be disapproved within 24 hours as well. So if you're thinking about doing ads, I would strongly recommend you Google the Facebook and Instagram terms and conditions for the ads, because if you put up ads and they keep getting knocked back, then you'll begin to develop lots of kind of marks against your name. And eventually they might just be like, no, we're just going to take the ads away from them because they're obviously being far too spammy or offensive. And therefore we might decide they're not going to have a right to do the ads, but we also might decide we're just going to chuck them off the whole platform as well. So it really is in your interest to make sure that you're familiar. You don't have to study them or anything, but at least you're familiar with the fact that, you can't, not only you can't sell illegal substances, but also you can't make people feel upset or angry or something in the news feed. Because if you say things like, are you feeling fat and frumpy today? Why don't you buy my Slim Fast slimming gear or whatever? And then you have a picture of before and after. Those kind of posts do not work at all, because it makes people feel bad when it comes up in the newsfeed. So you can imagine if somebody's having a hard day and they keep seeing all these posts going, are you fat? Are you feeling old? Does nobody love you? Or feeling lonely? They'll be like, oh my God, I want to shoot myself right now. So therefore, all of those kinds of ads are always going to be turned down by Facebook, because although they're not too vigilant about what people are doing and saying when it comes to organic content, they're hyper vigilant when it comes to the ads, because that's where most people see that content. Whereas if you're just putting it up into your newsfeed, hardly anybody is seeing it anyway. So therefore, do think carefully about your boosting your posts or working the ads manager as well. And then you can target people based on a whole variety of activities. So here in the boost post area, you can target people who are, say for example, you're a ski shop, right? In Edinburgh, no, let's say Wandsworth, of course. Let's say you're a ski shop in Wandsworth, right? And you've got a sale coming up. So you want to target all of those people who live within, say, 20 miles of your shop, who are mad about skiing, who are readers of ski magazines, who are fans of all the different ski resorts, who are fans of maybe some of the ski equipment and tools, and who might be on your email list, for example, or might have spent time on your website in the past. You know, you can literally do so many different variations for these ads, not always within the boost section. I'm talking about some of the ads that you can do, but they're only available in the ads manager. And literally, you know, that's where you can get all of your juice, because if you can imagine that ski shop in Wandsworth putting that content in the newsfeed and hoping for the best, you know, it's really not going to get the reach that it needs or deserves. Whereas you put a couple of quid onto that post, telling them about the sale, telling them to come down this weekend, champagne event, 30% discount on last season, blah, blah, blah. You'll get people, I mean, 100% of the people who see that post will be interested in that content, in that message. Whereas if you put up an ad on a billboard or any traditional advertising place like radio and TV, you can guarantee at least 95% of the people that see that ad are not interested in it. So that's the big difference with social media advertising as opposed to traditional advertising. First of all, it's super cheap. It's a couple of quid. And second of all, 100% of the people that see that content are potentially interested in it. Why? Because Facebook has already tracked exactly what they've been doing online. So if you're somebody who's always like checking out websites and checking out magazines related to skiing, then you've literally left a digital footprint for all the pixels to be able to kind of follow. So that therefore, if you've been spending time thinking about a ski holiday in Val d'Isère, then literally the next time you go to Facebook, you'll see a whole bunch of messages to do with all kinds of skiing related kind of content, because of the fact that everybody's picked up your digital footprint. It doesn't need to be personalized. People don't know who you are. They don't know your name. The business that has put that ad together doesn't know who you are either. The only way they can know who you are is if they put that offer up there and they ask you to hand over the email or tell you to come into the shop or tell you to go over to the website and make a purchase, all that kind of stuff. So as people start to come down the sales funnel, that's where you begin to understand who those particular customers are who have been targeted by those ads. All right, and then you can make sure that those people who see that ad are not just people who have those ski-related interests, but people who live in the local area and have a certain age bracket, and they might be all female because it's maybe kids' clothes, which is a 50% discount, you know, so you can have all kinds of funs with the ads. And then you decide on what your budget is. And as I was explaining earlier, you could, if you decide your total budget is going to be $70, they'll say, okay, fine. For $70 over 7 days, we can say that your content will be seen by between 893 and 2,534 people based on whether that is a successful ad or not. So literally on all aspects of social media, and that goes for Twitter and LinkedIn and Pinterest as well. If you're adding value to the newsfeed and that is ascertained objectively by the amount of people who are engaging with your post, then they will reward you massively in terms of visibility, reach, and that applies to the ads as well. Another note to the wise is that you should always make sure your ads run for at least 4 to 7 days in order to let the algorithm settle into who it is that's most likely to be interested. And then all you do is boost post now. And that's pretty much it. So let me just remind you that we've got the worksheet. If you want, just message me anywhere on social media and I'll send it over to you. So your key takeaways for today have been how to save time using the Facebook Business Suite and or the Facebook Creator Studio, how to create and manage posts on Facebook and Instagram from one place, and then track insights on your posts and ads to learn more about your performance, and then be able to boost posts to reach more people. All right, so I am going to stop sharing now. And I want to open up to you guys. You can ask me all the questions. But first, let me just go through the questions that you've put into the kind of comment section. Ricardo, ciao. So says, is the session being recorded? Oh, yeah, we've already done that one. Catherine, dear Finn, will you be sending us a copy of the slides? I'm afraid not. I can send you a recording, though. The slides all belong to Facebook. I didn't create them. Facebook gave them to me. And I dispatched them. Rebecca, can I view a transcript of this right now? You can see the recording. Yep. And that's all I can offer, really. Oh, the worksheet. The worksheet has got lots of information in it, and it's even got parts in the worksheet where you can fill in, bits. They're not just kind of telling you stuff. They're getting you to do some exercises related to how to actually set it all up. Now that I've given you the information, the easy bit is implementing. Am I right? No. So Ricardo says, where do I find that engagement percentage in the suite? That will be in your analytics. You'll find all of that stuff in your analytics. However, if you want to use a tool on Instagram, what the hell is it called? Is it called We Follow? I can't remember. There's a tool that we use. Bettina will tell me in a minute. On Instagram that tells us what the engagement rate. Okay. The other one is Social Blade. We use Social Blade as well to check out growth and engagement rates for everybody, from Kim Kardashian to Richard Branson and to the local businesses as well. Catherine says, where can we find out the optimum posting time, please? That's all in your analytics. So if you go into Instagram, so remember Instagram, you have to make sure that it's set up as a business tool, because remember how Facebook has got your personal profile and then your business profile. One of them is friends and one of them is likes. It's the same thing with Instagram. If your Instagram has the default, if you set up an Instagram, it might be a personal profile. So therefore, all you have to do is go up into the little kind of 3 dots on the top right-hand side, click on settings, and then go and change it into a business profile. And once you get your business profile set up, then you'll have access to see all of the analytics. Now, on Instagram, there are 2 places where you can find all your analytics. One is up there in the insights section. And then the other place is right underneath every single post that you do. So in those places, you can have a look, scroll through them all, click through them all, and then you'll see at one point, there's a place where you can find out what time is the best time for posting, what day is the best day for posting. So that's Instagram. When it comes to Facebook, assuming you have set it up as a business, that means it's a likes page, then you should have access to the insights. And that's what it's called on Facebook. So as soon as you go into the insights, you'll see a whole bunch of data about who the people are, what time is best for posting, and what are your best performing posts. They're all in there. So that's how they both operate from Facebook and Instagram. But once you put all of them together into the Facebook marketing suite, into the business suite rather, then you'll see all of those analytics together in one place, because that's going to make it much easier for you to make decisions. Hope that helps. All right, Ms. Rebecca says, why isn't this webinar accessible? i.e., why isn't there a transcript available whilst this webinar is in process? We don't do transcripts. We never have. I've never had an experience of offering transcripts at all in any of the Facebook trainings or Instagrams or anything like that. When you pay for much higher level stuff, then you get all the kind of bells and whistles. This is a very low budget type of activity, so therefore, they're not going to be putting too much effort into things like transcripts and stuff. But as I say, the worksheets will be able to help you with everything that you need, as well as the recordings. Catherine says, where in the business suite can we set up these messages? So you're just going to have to Google around, looking around for the messages. You'll find it. I mean, it can be a bit confusing once you get it set up, but just play around with it. I would recommend, rather than take a spirit of frustration to everything on social media, take a spirit of adventure and playing in the sandpit and expecting that there will be plenty of mistakes and errors on the journey. But eventually you'll be able to get more familiar with it, and it will get easier through time. So, I mean, I know that some people could get super frustrated by this whole journey. Some people I have worked with have found no end of frustration with everything. But I would say that that's because there was a predisposition and a mindset, which is like, oh my God, this is terrible. This is too complicated. I can't do that. As opposed to just relaxing and going, okay, this is complicated sometimes, but I'm going to do my best. And even if I can't work out how it works today, I will be able to unblock my mind, and tomorrow might be a bit easier as well. Okay, I hope that helps. Ricardo, how can you post the same content across 2 different pages automatically? So even without using the Facebook Business Manager, you can do that. So what you have to do is make sure that you have your Instagram set up, and in the settings, you connect it to Facebook. And therefore, every time you post anything on Instagram, it instantly goes through to Facebook. So that's part of the joy. And once you start getting busy using Instagram, you'll find it's a much more kind of enjoyable place to operate, especially for you as a photographer, compared to Facebook, because the engagement rate is much higher. When people are on Instagram, they're much more kind of business and inspiration occupied. Whereas if they're on Facebook, there's still quite a mindset of friends and family, and everything else is kind of annoyance and interference. So start getting busy with Instagram, and you're going to love it to bits, basically. Rebecca, where do we message you? What's your special social media handle? So you can see my name is at the bottom there, Finn Wycherley. So that's what my name is, at Finn Wycherley, anywhere on social media. So if you want to contact me on LinkedIn, for example, linkedin.com/Finn Wycherley. Oh, I think I have to put my HTTPS. There we go. That's my LinkedIn. You can grab me there, or you can grab me anywhere on Instagram, Twitter, etc., using Finn Wycherley, or the business name is Supersize Media. And Rebecca says, why wasn't there a transcript that's not accessible? So I would recommend you have a look at the worksheet, and hopefully that will answer all your questions. Maxie says, for a brand new business that has no history, where should it start? Meaning to start to get an audience of customers. Ooh, great question, Maxie. Oh yeah, Bettina says, by the way, that funky little tool that we use is to find out what the Instagram, I'm coming back to you in a minute, Maxie. The tool that you need to find out the engagement rate on Instagram is called WeFind, and it's a Chrome extension. So you go into the Chrome store, and then you find all the extensions, and you look for WeFind, and then you set it up, and there you go, Bob your uncle. And that'll tell you what the engagement rate is for every single Instagram and YouTube business in the universe. Maxie, okay, where do you start? So tell me, Maxie, what is your business? And then I'll be able to give you some information, because the reality is, this is a very general type of discussion. And the kind of advice that I would give to you if you were starting up a hotel would be completely different to if you're a consultant, or completely different if you're a photographer. You know what I mean? So let me know in the comments or even, unmute yourself and we can have the chat, because we've still got half an hour to have a good chat before I head off into my next workshop. So I'm always happy to hear what your business is, and then we can talk about a really good launch strategy for you. That would be fun.
Thank you. I do appreciate it. Thank you. I have locked on. It's
Perfect.
to do with getting children involved in reading. So it's for children to write book reviews to each other, and then in the future to get children to read to each other. And yeah, so it's all to do with reading and getting books and getting children reading more, engaging with reading more, reviewing books to share with their peers, and then and with the aim for them to read to each other as well.
Okay, and so what is the product or service? Is it a book that you're giving, or is it service that you're selling?
Well, that's one of my obstacles. So I apologize because I haven't got an answer for that really. But one of the things is to do with children reading to each other. So getting them to actually online read to each other and develop each other's reading skills, possibly also to do some kind of little reading tutorials through YouTube or things like that, but I haven't had experience of that, so I'm just investigating it.
Yeah, sounds interesting. Sounds fascinating. Oh, I want to, but for me, as a marketing person, I always want to know, where's the money? Show me the money.
I know.
Because otherwise it's going to be difficult to understand how best to market it. So if the money's coming in from charities and things like that, then that's one strategy. If the money's coming through because the parents are purchasing it or the authorities are purchasing it, then that's going to change what that strategy is as well. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, I have to think more then. Thank you.
You're welcome. Just come back to me anytime, because I love problem solving, this type of thing. And it's such a great service that you've got, that, the possibilities are endless, obviously, but you would want to really fine tune one strategy that's going to be the most effective for everything that you do. So what we do is we'll always work together to make sure that we understand what the competitors are doing, really benchmarking seriously how they're doing it as well. And then also developing a 52-week strategy of content as well, so that you know exactly what you're doing over the next 52 weeks. And everything is blocked into different kind of 12-month sections. So you've got like a theme for 1 month. What's happening in October? We might decide we're going to focus on books about animals, or books for the 6 to 8-year-olds, or something like that. I don't know how you could block it into different themes for each month. And then each month you also got that PR campaign, which goes out to, the journalists, the magazines, the podcasters, the conferences. So and the schools, for example, and the charities and the local authorities and things, so that you have that whole strategy, which is already mapped out, planned out in detail. So therefore, the easy thing is actually now just actually creating that content. But yeah, I would recommend that. From the sounds of it, without knowing too much detail about it, it sounds like it would really be a useful thing to do. A YouTube strategy, and even Facebook strategy sounds like it would be particularly good for delivery of all the different kinds of programs. But there's just too many possibilities of how else it could operate. So just get back to me when you've got answers, and we can.
I will do. I can appreciate do quick, it. Thank you.
No worries. We can do quick back and forths. Brilliant. So Rebecca says, how do we get the worksheet? Just send me a message on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or wherever, and send me your email, and I will get Bettina to send it over to you. Get Bettina, get busy. All right. So Jem, how you doing?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks. Thank you for a great, it's just been cool. So cool. You've really explained Facebook Business Suite like no one else has ever done. I'm not so scared of it now.
Yeah, it's not I'm just trying to say, it's not that easy once you get started, because it's like a whole new world. It's like when you have to upgrade your phone. It's like, oh God, do I have to? You know what I mean? You have to get used to the different functions and stuff like that. But once you get over the initial period, then it just becomes really intuitive. You don't even think about it.
Yeah. One thing though, you know, last week I was on, I think it was an Enterprise Nation one with social media Q&A, and I mentioned that I was trying to do some stuff for my friend, and I'm going to check out your checklist. But we discovered, I think it was Thursday, that the block was on my side. It wasn't necessarily hers, because she was able to give admin privileges to someone else. So now I'm thinking, what's going on with Facebook and me? Because I haven't annoyed them in any way. I've got, I think, 3 different pages, you know, from my actual Facebook, and I've never had been blocked. There was one account where I think I tried to change the name and it wouldn't allow me. So then I merged it into one and they allowed me to do that. So now I've got in total 3, even though there's 4 different names. But my main one really for me, the one that I operate from, is the @GemIndia, because before I was doing it more based on my travel company. So now I don't know what to do. Do I get in touch with them? How do I remove that block? Because she just wanted me to do some scheduling for her, because she's about to launch her skincare brand. And I seem to get along, you know, that whole thing you were saying about just playing with it and not taking it too seriously, because, you know, people are really scared to like do anything with social media, thinking that's going to be the, you know, the be all and end all. So I'm like, I don't care if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. But right now I'm thinking now, you know, what's going on? Why are they blocking my admin privileges?
Yeah, that's very interesting. So I would go and check out the account quality, see if there's any kind of marks up against your name or anything like that. Because, you know, merging pages, they're absolutely fine, because they wouldn't have merged, accepted for the pages to be merged unless they thought it was totally kosher. Have you actually liked her page?
Yeah,
right.
Everything. I liked it. Sorry, I'm going on to it now. Let me see if I can.
Is she bringing you in using the right information? So say, for example, if she can't find GemIndia on when she's trying to put you in as a admin role, then she can just put in your email address, for example.
No, it just doesn't. It blocks her. I just don't know what it is. Because she tried it with a couple of other people, and straight away it was like, it's fine. So it's the oddest thing, and I don't know what it is that's on my side which is blocking it.
All right, then. So just message me after, and I'll send you a big chat list of all the things you can do to ask them the questions of what's going on.
Yes. Thank you.
No worries. Anybody else got any questions for me?
Finn, sorry, just following on my previous question about posted on different pages. My question was actually more about posting on, yes, on Instagram, but also across 2 different Facebook pages. Is that something that is possible? Because at the moment, I've been just literally copy and pasting the same content, because it's exactly the same, the content.
Yeah, no, you'd have to copy and paste it, because when you're using that function within the business manager, it only allows you to connect up one Instagram account with one Facebook page. So yeah, you would have to use a copy and paste type of activity, or you can use one of the kind of paid for tools, you know, Later, Planoly. You can use those kinds of things. They're not that expensive. Or you can go super expensive, but I don't think that would necessarily work for you. But there are other ones like Agora Pulse that we use, which is fantastic when we need to put in like really in-depth reports, you know, very professional looking reports, so that board and senior managers can approve and all that type of stuff. So depending on what you're needing, then you'll get more functionality from these kind of third-party paid for scheduling tools. So you could have a look at things like Later and Planoly, and then you could say, all right, I want to be able to schedule out to Instagram and then these 2 Facebook posts, and then you just set them up and then off you go. But it wouldn't be a free function.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Any other issues? Any other marketing? Oh, the other thing I forgot to say, I'm on BBC regularly. Last time I was on, I was having to talk about, is it easy for Philip Morris and British American Tobacco to rebrand themselves away from being those cigarette smoking, toxic type of bad health companies into rebranding themselves into fantastic lifestyle companies, which are all about vaping and CBD, which thinks they're moving away from cigarettes. So that's the kind of thing I get brought in for, branding advice, which I love, as well as the kind of technical parts, because even if you have fantastic things like social, you understand exactly how social media works, it doesn't mean you're going to have a successful business if you don't have all the proper elements of your business put together. So if your message is in some way not positioned right, your branding is not coherent in terms of the values and the emotions and the positions, and people are a little bit confused about who you are, then it's not going to be successful. So the example I want to give is that, you know, even if you're selling salt, something as simple as salt, you have to define yourself not as a company that sells salt, but a company that sells this type of salt in this type of way, right? So what I mean by that is, are you the type of person that buys like the cheapest chips, 21 pence kind of bargain basement salt? Or are you the person that buys the Sainsbury's own brand salt? Or are you the person that buys the Malden rock salt, which is like 50 times the price? Or are you that person that buys the kind of healing salts that are going to go into your bath? It's like 26 pounds, you know? So you have to think carefully about what kind of positioning am I going to put into my message to make sure that people understand that the value that I bring is incredible for that positioning. So if you're a 5-star restaurant and you have 3-star marketing, everything's going to be really incongruent. You know what I mean? Similarly, if you're a 3-star restaurant and then it looks like it should be a 5-star because of the way that you've put your marketing together, people are going to be like all kind of discombobulated, and the message is going to be a bit fake and stuff. So that's why you need to make sure that the basic building blocks of your brand are really locked in, even long before you start thinking about, all right, how do we do that on Facebook? How do we do that on YouTube? How do we do that on all these other places? So that's where sometimes I'm like, okay, we need to take a couple of steps back before we start talking about the intricacies of Facebook strategies and things and the hashtag strategies. We move back now and make sure that not those elements like the font, the colors, the you know, the design and all those kind of things, those are secondary to the kind of brand story that we need people to think about when they think about us. I mean, a friend of mine last night after yoga, she was talking about she's going to go to Costa Rica because she knows this guy who's written loads of books, and he's been doing all these things with the Ayurveda and the herbs of Costa Rica, as well as the herbs of Latin America and the herbs of India and the herbs of Europe and la la la. And I'm like, this is such a great brand story, you know? So when you're not in the room, how are people talking about your business? How are people thinking and feeling about your business? Because the brand does not belong to you. The brand belongs to everybody else's perception. And if that perception is incongruent or inauthentic in some way, then people are not going to be clicking through on any Facebook ads or any Instagram ads whatsoever.
Wonderful, Finn. That's just what I've been struggling with.
I know this. I know this.
Social pages. Thank you.
Yeah.
I still need to book in with you for a proper consult, because that's precisely what I'm struggling with. I've got myself like entangled with so many different things.
Yes.
That clarity of, you know, and like focus and how to get the various brand stories married in with what I'm about.
Yeah, totally. Are you an air sign? Water?
Oh, I'm actually Taurian, so it's
Earth.
Yeah, but
we need to get you properly aligned with your brand story then. Yeah.
for sure, because I'm feeling like what's going on? I'm all the way up here, and it's,
Yeah.
yeah, I need some kind of tangible.
Yeah, we need
going
to
on.
put those anchors in.
That's it.
So basic building blocks, and then you can get that
Foundations.
creativity
That's
flowing.
it, and then just
Yeah.
fly.
Yeah, because we know you've got
Thank
all of
you.
that ability, but it feels
Yeah.
like you're missing those kind of basic
Yeah.
the foundation stones, I think.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. I will reach out to you for sure.
No
Which
worries.
one's best? Because the other day I reached out to you on Insta, but I think maybe LinkedIn might be
LinkedIn, yeah,
the one.
LinkedIn will be a
Yeah.
good one.
Okay. I'll get back to
Awesome.
you on LinkedIn. Thank you.
Brilliant. Catherine, you got a question?
Yes, I was wondering if there was a way to automatically update the prices in the catalog. If you don't have an automatic feed, you just have the links to your items.
You mean you've got a Facebook or Instagram store shop?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be able to change them on your spreadsheet that connects to your shop.
Okay.
Yep. So go back to the original spreadsheet that communicates with your website and then communicates with the shop and how you set it up. And then, you know, that's basically how it all gets put together.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other final questions? We all good? All right, so let's call a halt to today's proceedings. As usual, it's been amazing working with you all in Wandsworth. I can't wait to come down to Wandsworth now because I feel like I've got loads of new best mates down there. All right, then. So I will speak to you another time, and hopefully you have a great time implementing. As I said, reach out to me, give me your email, and then I'll send you the worksheets, or Bettina will, and then we can take it from there. Okay.
Thank you, Finn.
All
And
right.
anytime you want to come to Wandsworth, come down to me. I'm in.
Okay. All right. I'll come to you first then. No problem.
For sure. All right.
All right. See you guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye. Bye. Bye.